What's going on, everybody? The Arid Lord is back and here for a prediction video for episode 13 of The Walking Dead entitled Chokepoint. This is the 13th episode of season 9 and we are going to be doing some predictions, and even with some of the limited previews we have for this episode, there are a lot of things going on in this episode, and I thought last week's episode there was a lot going on from the previews, but this takes the cake. So there are multiple angles, multiple layers and adversaries. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to tackle the symbols for a second. So one of the preview clips we get for this episode is Carol, Jerry, and Ezekiel in the kingdom, and they received a letter. So at the end of episode 11, and I didn't discuss this too much, but at the end of episode 11, there is a mysterious symbol that appears on the back of a sign near the kingdom. Apparently, they noticed this, and there's a letter attached to it, as we see in the preview clip for episode 13. And Ezekiel is reading this in one of the previews, and it's a letter from a bunch of people called the Highwaymen. And they claim that one of the roads leading from either it's Hilltop to Kingdom or Alexandria to Kingdom, one of the roads that leads there, they control that road. So you have to pay a fee or a tariff in order to get from point A to point B. And it's a warning. So this is almost like, I'm trying to think, it's almost like the wolves, when the wolves used to mark their territory with the wolves not far. And they're putting this as like a warning message, like, do this or else. The Saviors, I guess the Saviors had the insignia of Lucille on some of their weapons, if you recall, back in the earlier seasons. But I'm trying to think of a group in the past that's used symbols. I know the Terminus people used symbols on the trees to mark their way from their old base to the church. That was how Morgan got to the church, actually, ironically, from the symbols that Gareth and his group carved on the trees. But this is like a warning symbol to kind of say, like, we're coming for you, and you demand, like, we're demanding payment. Now, what's interesting in the clip is that Ezekiel and Jerry hypothesize, Indiana, they all hypothesize that it's probably Jed in some of the Saviors. They think it's a bunch of rogue Saviors that are in charge. Obviously, Carol, she burned them alive, so she's shaking her head and says, no, that's not possible. But they still think that it could be some semblance of the Saviors that could be doing this. Now, unless there are other Saviors still out there that are disbanded and are rogue marauders like Jed's group, I don't think it can be the Saviors. I think that's Ezekiel's go-to because it's really the only threat he's aware of. That's the only threat he's ever had to really face, other than walkers. The only human threat he's faced are the Saviors. And so it's been so many years, and they don't feel like it could be anyone like the Saviors. They know Jed is still out there, but obviously Carol she didn't tell them. Only Carol knows. She didn't even tell Henry that she set those guys on fire. So the kingdom, especially Ezekiel, could assume, which is why he says that. Now, we know that it's not. So the question now becomes, who are the Highwaymen? And we get an image, a very brief image of a bunch of individuals on horseback. It doesn't show you who's on horseback, but it shows an angle of a tree, like a broken tree in the road, and there's a bunch of horses galloping in haste towards a certain destination. Are these the Highwaymen? Because when you think Highwaymen, they usually have some type of, like, some mode of transportation that gets them around quick. Seeing as how so many years have passed and there's no gasoline to power vehicles other than Daryl's corn-powered motorcycle, it's horses. So I'm assuming that in this preview, that these guys are the Highwaymen. And are they a new group? Are they... Because the show has done this before, where they're leading us down a path. It's a very linear path. Like, all right, we got our villains, we got our protagonists, and there's the conflict between them. However, if you recall back in season 7, we had the monkey wrench where Jadis and the scavengers were introduced randomly, and Rick at the time thought that they would be a nice tool to use men and women for his army to amass a force against Negan, and they kind of filled a spot. But it was a group that had antagonistic qualities, and obviously they showed those antagonistic qualities in the season 7 finale. But when we were focusing so much on the saviors, it was interesting that a new group was suddenly introduced. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. So we're focusing on the Whisperers. We had a lot of like their culture within their camp last episode. We're still going to focus on them moving forward. That is the other angle of this episode, which I'll get to. But is there a new group? And that's the first thing I want to ask you guys. Do you think there's a new group being introduced into the show, the Highwaymen, someone who's taken advantage of this divided situation between the communities? Or is it a group that we may know? Maybe it's the Oceanside. Again, I'm thinking something happened to Oceanside, and maybe the Oceanside, they're stepping in as kind of controlling the roads and maybe trying to take advantage. Maybe something happened to them with the whole X's and Michonne. Lots of speculation there. I won't go into it now. I have another video for that. But interesting to think about. I don't know who these Highwaymen are going to be. I'm leaning towards them being a new group, or they're like saviors, Oceansiders, like they're marauders from group. It's going to be one of two things. They're going to be marauders from the saviors or the Oceanside, or it's going to be a totally new group that's just taken advantage of this opportunity and the division between the communities. And Carol even says that this might put everything at jeopardy. Like, they're trying to get everybody, all of the communities together to sign the charter, to be together. How are they going to all get there if there are a bunch of marauders trapping and paying tolls and stealing people, possibly killing people? They need to deal with this threat. So some of the screenshots, we see Carol, like we see some of the Kingdom soldiers lined up on the road, probably trying to intercept these marauders so that they can deal with the threats. That's going to be a very interesting part, because we have two battles. We have a couple battles going on in this episode. That's one. Then there's the Whisperer stuff. So the only Whisperer we really see is Beta, and he is with a force of other Whisperers and Walkers, and they're trying to find Daryl, Lydia, Henry, and Connie. As you remember in the previous episode, they escaped the camp. Daryl used the mass tactic, and he brought a huge horde onto Alpha's camp, killed some of her people. They escaped, but Henry and Lydia were able to escape. In the clip, Lydia tells Daryl that Beta is the toughest Whisperer amongst them, and then Daryl, they put it in text overlay, which is interesting. I like how they do that. They like emphasize certain words that characters say in the trailers. And Daryl says, "Good, we'll kill him first." Now, apparently, according to some articles that I've read about this upcoming episode, there is a 3-page fight scene between Daryl and Beta. And I have a few images here. They showed the preview to this fight back when the mid-season trailer was released, back in November. Like after we got episode 8 and Jesus died, and then we had the trailer for like the second half of season 9. We saw this fight scene, and that's where I was able to get those first couple of images of this guy. So this is going to be a tough battle. I don't think Beta's going to... all right, here's the thing. Neither of these characters are going to die. This is just going to be a showmanship fight. This is going to be like eye candy for the fans, and I'm totally fine with that. This is going to be they're probably both going to get injured, and they're probably going to walk away with some wounds, all right? Like, broken bones, scratches, whatever it is. They're going to come away a little beat up, but I don't think either one is going to die. Now, we see Henry running through this structure. They found a building, and here, as a screenshot here, they find this building, and it looks like, the way it's shot, it looks like, if any of you played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, when you're in the flashback sequence in Ukraine, there's a building that looks very similar to this building, and I'm actually going to put a side-by-side screenshot comparison for you guys right now, and tell me if that looks similar. I'm not saying that it's different film locations, totally different. One's a video game, one's a TV show. Not trying to say one ripped off the other at all, but for me, with my cognitive recognition of media, that was the first thing that I thought of. Just an abandoned old structure. And it's a sizable one. Now, the name of this episode is interesting. It's called Chokepoint. And I think that the staircases and the ways to get in and out of this building, that's going to be the choke point. Because you're going to trap yourself if you go to the roof. If you go to a high floor or you go to the roof, you can't jump off the building because you're going to break your legs and die. So basically, it's going to be Daryl, Lydia, Henry, and Connie trying to kill this force of whisperers before they can trap them. So it's going to be a game of cat and mouse, and a big fight scene in this building. And I think that's really interesting. I just think it's a really cool location for a fight scene, and I'm really looking forward to this. We see Daryl shooting some arrows. One of the preview clips we get, Daryl shoots an arrow at either a zombie or a whisperer, and he sees it from the balcony. He can see from the balcony. He's looking over, and he sees this force coming towards them. So, I mean, again, I trust Daryl and his dog. Hopefully the dog, hopefully he'll be okay. But, Daryl's a smart guy. He was smart enough to put that Whisperer mask on to get into the camp and rescue them in the first place. So I've got faith. I do think he might be underestimating Beta a little bit, especially from the preview clips where he just picks Daryl up like he's a bag of potato chips. He literally just lifts him with both hands. Like, this guy is big and strong, and I think Daryl's underestimating a little bit, like, just what a force that this guy is. So I think this is going to be a cool fight. This is mano y mano, macho fight. It's a 3-page fight. It's going to be really big, really eventful. My question is, how will Lydia and Henry be utilized in the fight? Because if this is a one-on-one fight, Henry and Lydia will be fighting the other Whisperers and Walkers that are part of Beta's force. Now, we do see a few clips of Lydia hiding. She's hiding in this building. She looks really, really scared. Will she kill a Whisperer in this episode? I'd be interested to see her, like, fully turn against her people and kill a Whisperer. That'd be interesting, because if she's in a life and death situation, maybe a Whisperer captures her and says, "I'm bringing you back to your mom, come with me." Like, would she kill that person and say, "No, I'm staying with Henry and I'm staying with this group of people who actually care about me"? We'll see. We know that Henry is, sex crazed, hormone jacked up. I mean, he's going to be defending her. I'm interested to see if there's going to be a conversation between them, because that's going to be a little awkward. Like, once they're away from the Whisperers, like, Henry's going to be like, "Not only did you punch me, but you almost killed me. Were you going to kill me? Do you have feelings for me?" Like, there's a lot of things that for them to talk about. And I'm hoping that there's a scene between Henry and Lydia where they can hash out what happened at the camp. Lydia can, like, give us a preview of where she, like is she gonna stay with the group? Like, what is her thoughts? Because she seemed a little uncertain when Daryl and Connie showed up to save them. She was like, "I'm not sure." Like, she still seemed kind of teetering whether she wanted to stay at the Whisperer camp or go. But in her mind, she's probably going to be abused if she stays at the Whisperer camp. Like, Alpha's going to be pissed off that this happened. And there's no way that she's going to be, like, okay with this at all. So, running away, I think, honestly, like, she's a fugitive. She's a fugitive by circumstance because of Henry, because of the Horde, because of Daryl. And I think she's just going to adapt to that circumstance. Like, she's had to adapt to her circumstances, whether it's being with her mom or when she was captured, she had to contend with her own inner feelings and the environment she was dealing with. So, it's going to be interesting. I hope that everyone can stay together. I don't know where they're going to go. Like, are they going back to the hilltop? Are they going to the kingdom for the fair? Like, where is the group going? That's my big question. I don't know where, like, what's the goal? Like, are they just trying to kill the Whisperers and, like, deal with this threat before they go back home? Like, what do you guys think? Me personally, I don't think we're going to get those answers. I think this is just going to be a big fight scene in this building. Maybe Lydia or Henry will be captured again. Maybe the Whisperers will divert their attention towards Kingdom or Hilltop. Like, they'll start moving in force to a home, and then that'll become a problem. So someone's hand is going to be forced. By the end of this episode, I don't think it's going to be a total victory for Daryl, Henry, and Lydia. I think there's going to be a loss in some way. I don't think anyone's going to die, but someone's going to get captured, or they're going to learn about the Kingdom in some way. Because as we recall, Lydia did not reveal the location of the Kingdom. She had the opportunity to tell Alpha about the Kingdom, and she didn't. So there's going to be some way, if we're going to see a direct adaptation, there's going to be some method, some way that the Whisperers learn about the Kingdom and about the Fair. How that happens, I don't know. Maybe the Marauders are related to the Whisperers, but then again, would the Marauders really be running on horses? Their dead skin masks would give them away as Whisperers. It wouldn't, like, they're two different groups. I don't think they're the same, if you guys were thinking that. And then the last bit is... this might have to do with the Marauders too. Maybe this is the group that's going to Alexandria or going to Kingdom. We get Tara, Yumiko, Magna. We get this group on the road, and they run into some walkers. They run into some trouble. And I think this is where the Marauders are going to come into play. And the Kingdom's probably going to have to explain that there's a situation with some group that's demanding tribute. But it's going to put more people on edge. That's the thing. Like, everyone's going to be super, super on edge. Like, everyone's already on edge because of undisclosed tensions from the past that hopefully we'll learn about in 2 episodes, in episode 14. But this is only going to exasperate it. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of gathering by the end of this episode where the communities kind of like start to have peace talks, and that they deal with this, maybe dealing with this Marauder threat. I mean, but I always thought that dealing with the Whisperers, that's how they were going to group up and come together to deal with the Whisperers. That seems more like a season 9 finale thing. If they really, once they finally understand how big this threat is, then they band together. But is there going to be an earlier banding together to deal with these Marauders that are coming in? You be the judge. Those are some of my predictions. I don't think it's going to be a total victory, and I think this is going to be a major fight scene. And I do think that we've seen enough evidence from Lydia that she's going to stick around with Henry in the group. Will there be more romance between them? I don't know. I mean, the show hasn't adapted some of the things the comic has, but I don't know if there's time necessarily for that. I mean, they're on the run. They're trying to escape the Whisperers, and... yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I was Daryl, I would shoot Beta with the crossbow. I don't know what, like, if Beta is so big, I would like from that building, I would like aim at him with the crossbow and try to kill him. Like, why even go hand-to-hand combat against this fucking guy? Just like use a gun or use your crossbow to fucking shoot a bolt in him, and then like that would be the best method to kill Beta. You do not go toe-to-toe with this guy, knife or fists. You do this, he's gonna beat you. So you've got to use a weapon of some kind against him. So but yeah, I think Daryl is vastly underestimating Beta. I don't think Alpha's going to be in this episode. I think this is going to be a Beta driven, like he's going to be the like it's just going to be him and his force. And I think Alpha's going to be taking the Whispers in a different direction. Maybe she's going to be seeking out the Kingdom. Maybe she'll find the Kingdom. She's not in any of the previews, so I think it's safe to assume she won't be in this episode. So it's just going to be the big brute. So this is going to be a cool episode, man. It's going to build up a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if, again, a lot of rumors that episode 14 is going to be entirely a flashback episode to the Big X's mystery. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to be flashbacks paired off with the present. We'll have to see. But I'm like, oh, I want to know what this mystery is. Oh, it's driving me nuts. But hopefully sooner rather than later. So, all right, those are my predictions for episode 13. If you guys agree or disagree, leave a comment down below, and I will get to that. And maybe I'll have a vlog or two before my reaction this Sunday for Chokepoint. All right? And finally, the image that I usually have promoting my XSplit, like the images on XSplit, the image is actually going to make sense. This image is actually from episode 13 when when Beta and Daryl fight, when you see him just lurking right there. So, all right, cool. I will see you guys. Thanks for watching.